You might have stumbled across this channel when doing some research on Moraine Lake, or maybe Lake Louise, or one of the other many stunning lakes on the ICEFIELDS Parkway. But what if I told you there are endless, equally as stunning lakes all over the Canadian Rockies if you're willing to put in the effort? And a lot of these lakes aren't overrun with crowds because they're a little more difficult to get to. And this is one of them.
And our first little obstacle to get to this lake is this river here. It's not actually too bad at the moment. I'm going to guess about knee deep, but we need to wade across here and then carry on the trail on that side as well. It's an easy kind of couple of kilometres walk down what's a relatively wide horse track to get to here. But I think camera needs to go away in the back of the bag as well. Poles out and shoes off, just to make sure nothing gets too wet. Yeah, gonna take my boots off because definitely don't want to risk these getting wet because I think they'll stay wet all day. Socks will definitely come off too. And then I've also got these rather stylish looking water shoes to walk over with because it is a bit rocky, probably a bit slippery, but we will give that a go. And hopefully we don't fall in. So crossing complete, and boots and camera gear still dry, so going well so far. I think now we have about 6 kilometres of relatively easy, mellow track through the woods until we get to the next challenge, the next obstacle, a bit further along. And if you are looking to do this trail yourself, just to let you know, we actually crossed the river a little bit further upstream than what, like say, all trails or the GPS track would take you. It actually has you crossing at a deeper section. But yeah, maybe 200 metres upstream, it's a bit shallower. Definitely glad I bought these little things. I wouldn't have wanted to cross that bare feet. After about 10 kilometres, we've finally broken out of the trees, and you can kind of see behind us here, this is where we're going now, and this is really where all the main elevation comes from. There's about 400 metres of elevation gain, about half of what there is on the trail in this last little section. You're about to see that scree path kind of cutting across the mountain, and then we actually are camping on the lake that's just up here where there's a waterfall, above the waterfall somewhere, but you might be able to tell that the wind has picked up pretty wildly right now. So we're just gonna kind of bide our time a little bit and go really slowly over this scree trail, because obviously we don't want to get blown off. And then yeah, from there there's some chains that are going to help us climb up over the mountain. But again, we will take our time and make sure we're not doing anything too silly. Just made our way up those chains that kind of go up next to the waterfall. And I think the lake is just up there, but those chains are actually as bad as I thought they were going to be. Like, I've seen pictures where they look really steep, but to be honest with you, you could scramble that without any chains. It wouldn't be that bad, but obviously it's nice that they're there for a bit of extra security. So yeah, not super bad or super steep. They often look steeper in pictures, but obviously you still need to be comfortable. But onward into the wind, into the lake, see if we can find a nice camp spot and a nice viewpoint for some sunset and sunrise photography. So we've hiked on round to the other side of the lake, just in the woods where you're allowed to camp. And Carnarvon Lake's not actually as big as I expected, so it didn't take very long just to walk around to the other side here into the trees, but it's nice and sheltered here away from the wind. So now just to find a nice little spot to camp. So we found ourselves a nice little spot kind of amongst the trees here. Partly done that because, well, one, it was one of the best flat spots, and also it will be a bit more sheltered from the wind if that does pick up. But I'll show you here, we're not super far away from the lake. Just here, and come on, like, look at the colour of this lake just here. Might be time for a little pre-dinner dip.
So yeah, it turns out that Carnarvon Lake is It's pretty cold. So we scrapped the swim, warmed up and headed uphill to the viewpoint. On tonight's menu is a little bit of chana masala, a nice dehydrated meal, super easy to cook, and obviously dinner with a view. I think this is kind of the spot where I want to shoot sunset and sunrise, I think. And also, we're in the sun right now. Our campsite's just down there in the trees, you might better just see, but it's in the shade. So this is definitely a better spot to spend the evening, I think, in the sunshine with this view. And hopefully, in about 10-15 minutes, some nice warm food. So I think we're going to bail on sunset, partly because there's some rather ominous looking clouds coming in over there, and we'd rather be closer to our tent. And in all honesty, I think now the sun has gone behind the mountains, just behind me here already, so there's no light or anything on the kind of peaks here and the Carnarvon peak here either. There's no light on there, and it doesn't look like there's going to be much going on in the clouds. So tomorrow morning the sun should rise from kind of over here somewhere and hopefully cast some light towards the mountains and also illuminate any clouds that are in the sky. So kind of putting all our eggs in one basket and hoping that we can come back tomorrow morning and yeah, hopefully get a decent shot. We headed back down to camp and it turns out our intuition was right. We made it back just in time. As you can tell this morning, the rain has stopped. It only lasted for maybe 20-30 minutes, just enough to make us retreat to our tents last night. But we've come back up this morning to that same viewpoint we kind of had dinner at last night. And as you can see, the sun's just about coming up. Actually looks pretty bright on this camera. But I'm stood on kind of a little ledge slightly higher up, and you can see Brooks just down here as well on a rock a little bit lower down, and it's turning out to be a perfect little place to kind of pose for a photo, I suppose. And this morning I'm really hedging my bets, right? So we've got this huge wide landscape to photograph, and I've actually recently only been hiking with a 24-70 just to try and reduce the amount of kit that I hike with. I know I want that longer compression, that more kind of eye perspective, that 50-70mm focal range when I hike. But often, like now, I need a much wider angle. So what I'm having to do is shoot a panorama, maybe like a 5 vertical frame panorama to get the equivalent of probably more of an 18-20mm focal length with a 24mm wide end lens. And I'm shooting brackets, so I'm shooting 3 exposures for each because we've got very bright skies, darker mountains at the moment, and I just want to make sure I have all the information that I could possibly need. I may not use all those shots, but at least I have them for when I get back and I can stitch them all together. And earlier on I got Brooke to take a picture of me actually just down there, and I think that came out pretty cool, silhouetted behind the lake. But yeah, let's see how this panorama turns out. And from this same spot this morning, I'm also just going to take like one 24mm frame. Doesn't quite get the top of the mountains in, but what I can see is I think the sun's going to rise just here in the corner. And if it just peaks over there and I get it just at the right time, I should be able to get a really nice sun star. And this lens is really good for that. This is the 24-70, the second generation of the Canon L lens. And if you shoot it about kind of an f14 or f16, you can get a really, really nice pointed sun star. So I've got Brooke down here. I think she's just sitting down having a chill. And then I really like the way this rock band actually kind of runs across the frame and out into the corner. And I've also framed it just so that the mountains here run out into the corner, so you can't quite see the tops, but they just kind of disappear. But I think if we just wait maybe 2 or 3 minutes, hopefully that lines up just in the perfect spot, but we will wait and see.
So the camping at Carnarvon Lake, right, this is random camping or wild camping. And places like this are only able to exist if people play by the rules, right? And whenever you're camping in the backcountry, whether it's a national park, a provincial park, or a wild camp, you should always take out what you take in, right? Pack out what you pack in and leave no trace. So it's really sad to see here that we've got like a few different places here where, you know, someone's burnt a bunch of cans in the fire here and just left them. There's a bunch of like old tin and stuff on the ground and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then down the road we randomly found a potato on the ground. But yeah, if you're coming to camp like places like this, just tidy up after yourselves, right? We're going to pick up and pack out some of this stuff because aluminium can is just never going to biodegrade. But yeah, play by the rules and then we can all enjoy it. If you have any questions about camping at Carnarvon Lake or how to get here, feel free to leave those in the comments below. And then hopefully I'll see you on the next video.